original table that came with this little patio set here was a grey table, but unfortunately last year during one of the storms it got flipped over and smashed into millions of pieces. So a replacement was purchased, but it's impossible to get hold of a grey one, so I had to get a black one. So now we've got a bit of a monochromatic colour scheme going on here with the black and the grey. Well, that's fine, but and I was looking at the chairs here and they've got lots of rust on them and stuff, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare them and paint them black to match the table. So that's my plan. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to rub them down with a fine abrasive. So I've got some 240 grade abrasive paper here. I wouldn't use anything like an 80 or 120 grade because it would just scratch the metalwork, and when you paint over it you'll see all those scratches in the background which won't look very good at all. So I'm going to give them a light rub with the 240 grade abrasive just to get rid of some of this rust deposit and also give good adhesion for the paint which is going to be going on top. So give it a light rub. So I don't need to go too mad. As you see, the rust is still there underneath, so I'm going to be treating that in a second. So I'll just give it a bit of a rub generally around the rest of it a minute. So this is also removing any sort of loose dirt deposits on the surface as well, which is brilliant. So that's what I'll be doing over all the metalwork on all the chairs. It's a light rub like that. Let's dust it off. Get rid of any dust on there. Okay, so that's that section rubbed down. Now what I'm going to be doing next is I've got some of this rust killer here, so I'm going to be putting over the rust patches to stop the rust coming back. So this you can get off the internet, and what I'll do is I'll put some links in the description box of this video for all the products I'll be using on this video. So pour some in this cap here. I'm using a little Fitch brush here just to apply it. So this, weirdly, is a water-based rust killer. It does sound strange, doesn't it? But that's what it is. And a lot of the modern ones are water-based. So what we do is we apply it over the rust and you leave it overnight. And what it often does is it changes the rust to a sort of a dark grey colour, ready for painting. So I'm going to carry on rubbing down and treating the rust, and I'll be back in a minute. Hi, so the old rust killer has been left on the metal chairs here overnight. Let it do its stuff. If you look there with that big rust patch, well, as you can see that rust killer has certainly done a good job there and got rid of all that rust. So all the rust patches over all the metal chairs down near the bottom and wherever have all been treated, killed all the rust, so that's far better now, ready for painting. So my next job is going to have to be to mask up this material so it doesn't get paint on it when I spray the metal work. So what I've already done, the camera can pick it up, is I've already masked up down the edges of the chairs with this green tape. That's it there. Many of you might have already heard of this particular tape, frog tape. It's brilliant because along the edge it gives a better, well-defined edge than the cheaper basic masking tapes. And it comes in a little container like that. There we go. So yeah, so I've masked up down there, and I've also done around the back and underneath. So all down those edges I've already masked up with that frog tape. So now I need to protect this area down through here. So what I've done is because I've got a bit of my old wallpaper here, and I've made it so it's that distance wide, which is 39 centimetres, and 210 centimetres long, this particular piece of old wallpaper, so I'm going to use to mask up down through there. So what I'm going to do is there's a bar, excuse me, here. I'm going to feed the paper through there. And then through this one here, like that. It'll whiz up through here, like that. Then down over the back like that. Then all I need to do then is to put tape down each side and underneath to hold it in position, which is what I've already done. So that's what it looks like when it's done. So I've just used the other tape to come down here to clamp it in position all the way around and underneath. So now we're all ready to do the spray painting on the metalwork. Okay, so I'm all ready to start spray painting the chairs now. I'm going to be starting off with a grey primer. This one's by a company called High Coat. And I'll be using this to spot prime over the areas where the rust was. And what you have to do with these cans, you have to shake them like crazy for at least 2 minutes so the ball bearing in there can rattle around and mix up all the paint, which I've already done. That's quite exhausting, I have to keep shaking it like crazy. So that's all shaped up, ready to go. And when I'm spraying this paint, what I'll be doing, so I'll be keeping my hand with the can about a hand distance away as I'm spraying. That's the recommended distance for when you're using these spray cans. So I'm just going to be doing where the rust was. Now I'm going to need to wear a mask to protect me from the fumes. So I'll pop this mask on now. There we go. So there we are, that's where some of the rust was down there. So I'll give that a quick go down through there. Like that, and on this one. Other side. Get down through here. Bit across the top here, look. There we go. Yeah, so the main thing is not to hold the can too close, not to pile too much paint on because it will run very quickly. So just build up in thin layers. So I'm going to carry on and do the rest of the chairs. And it'll probably need another coat over the top of that, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so that's the spot priming done with the old grey primer. It needed 2 coats, and what I did, I left each coat 15 minutes before applying the next one. And a little tip here is after you've applied each coat of paint, turn the can upside down and spray it just to clear the nozzle out, and you find it won't block up when you come to use it in future. So now I'm ready to put the black gloss on top of the metal. So this is the one I'm going to be using by that same company that called High Coat, black gloss finish paint, applied in the same way as the grey. Okay, so what I'm going to do is first of all I'm going to turn the chair upside down like that. So I'm going to spray these underneath bits first. Just pop the old mask on. I've already been shaking this one like crazy as well, so it should be good to go. As you can see, I'm only putting a very light coat on, so I don't want it to run. Tip it forward a bit to get that front edge. Well, now I can stand him up now. There we go. I'm going to tip the legs up when I spray them so I don't get too much black all over my dust sheet. Same as the front one. Lift it there, I think. Ooh. That's covering pretty well actually, black over the grey. I'm quite happy with that, so I'm going to crack on and complete the chairs. We'll have a look at them when they're finished. Well, that's the patio chairs all finished now. And I must say, I do think it matches in much better with these being black and not grey, I must say. If I just turn one of the chairs around, you get a better look at it. So that's what they've actually turned out like, so I'm really pleased with that. I did end up giving them 2 coats of the black spray paint, and that seemed to have done a really good job. That was good. So if I turn it around, you'll see the back of it as well. So nice neat lines on them, so that tape worked a treat. So got a nice matching patio set there. So I hope you found this video useful, and if you have, why not subscribe to my channel so you stay up to date with all the latest videos.